My name is Jack Harbaugh. I'm a partner with the Parker Avery Group as a management consulting firm that has the privilege of working with a lot of top-end retailers on initiatives that span from process and strategy consulting through technology assessment. We're truly honored to be a sponsor this year and participate in this exciting event. It's my pleasure this morning to introduce our next speaker, Bonnie Brooks. Bonnie is the president of Hudson's Bay Company and has been in that role since January of last year. Prior to joining the Bay in 2008, she spearheaded the turnaround and revitalization of another iconic retailer, Asia's Lane Crawford. Ms. Brooks also held the responsible leadership roles in a number of other top retailers, including Holt Renfrew, Dixon's Concept International, and Empire Company Limited. In addition to spending her career building high-end retail brands, Bonnie's devoted a significant amount of time and energy to giving back to the community. In fact, since joining Hudson's Bay Company, Bonnie has raised collectively more than $17 million for charitable organizations, including the Canadian Red Cross and the Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation. Bonnie's been recognized as one of the top 25 retailers worldwide by Monocle Magazine, and was named by Fast Company as one of the world's 100 most creative people in business. And in 2011, she was recognized by Women's Executive Network as one of Canada's top 100 most powerful women. Please join me in welcoming Bonnie Brooks.
Good morning, thank you. And thank you for the lovely introduction. Yes, I joined Hudson's Bay Company shortly after a private equity company owned by Richard Baker from New York bought it almost 4 years ago, and I joined as the CEO of the Bay. And at the end of last year, November, we actually completed an IPO, and Canada's oldest company and the world's oldest retailer became once again a public company on the Toronto Stock Exchange, placing 20% of its ownership back into Canadian hands. When we took on the challenge of reinventing the Bay, I said I wasn't sure which was more daunting, its future or indeed its past. And I'll tell you a little history about the beginnings of this company. In 1668, 2 ships were dispatched from London, backed by King Charles II, organized by 2 French entrepreneurs, Radisson and Groseilliers, who had befriended the king's nephew. One ship returned immediately, ravaged by an Atlantic storm. The other, called the Nonsuch, was gone for 2 years and considered an extremely poor investment, when suddenly it reappeared in 1670 on the Thames with a cargo of the finest furs royalty had ever seen. And King Charles thus declared a charter to the Company of Adventurers trading into Hudson's Bay for all of the land draining into it, AKA the Hudson's Bay Company. And my title, along with 300 of the management team members, is Chief Adventurer. In our company, leadership is everyone's responsibility. This is the actual charter, which is still in our offices and has been compared in value and significance to the Declaration of Independence. Our coat of arms with the St. George's Cross and our elk, beavers, and fox has the kind of heritage other companies have to try to invent. But we are the real thing, and that authenticity is what sets us apart. The English artists who were challenged to draw the animals on this crest in 1670 had never seen a Canadian elk or beaver, and if you look closely at the animals, they have long eyelashes and other human-like features. We have a lot of fun elements in our archives. We clothed North America's first settlers. We fed the pioneers. We took passengers to the Arctic with the fur traders. We supplied everything the fortune seekers needed for the Klondike. And in what must have been the very good old days, We served our own Hudson's Bay Scotch to our executives. Sad to say, those days have disappeared. But the stripes are where it all started. The HBC blanket was the first currency of the nation. And the large stripes actually represent the 4 founding nations of Canada, the red being the British, the navy blue being the French, the green, the First Nations, and the yellow, the Métis. And the small points that are visible towards the box in that picture, the little tiny black points, are actually, they range from 2 points to 8 points, depending on the size of the blanket. And they roughly represent the number of pelts that you needed to trade in order to get a blanket. So we actually call it, we refer to it as retail's first barcode. We have a website and a section on our website called Stripe Spotting, where people can actually take photographs and send them in to us. So people send in all their lovely pictures of their loved ones and their children in our stripes. And we've actually made it our role to be the source for all things authentically Canadian. Authenticity is important to me, and it was one of the reasons that I wanted to join the Bay. A great example of our authenticity is this canvas-covered cedar strip canoe from 5th-generation makers in Ontario, which, by the way, was a hit with the Royals. Kate and William, when they visited us on Canada Day, were up at Harrington Lake, our Prime Minister's private summer residence, and they paddled around in a couple of these canoes. We've been the provider of Canadiana for royalty and royalty visits for more than 100 years. In Paris, our signature stripe collection was purchased from us by the retailer Colette. And I'm sure many of you, if you don't know in this room, Colette is the #1 store in the world that everyone who lands in Paris for Fashion Week visits first. It's the very high-end and very fashion-forward best retailer in Paris. And she loved our stripes and sold out of them last Christmas. And the reinvention of our signature stripes is really being done by partnering with leading fashion designers and leading interior designers, Canadians around the world. D Squared has helped us, a number of Canadian designers. This shop was designed by Jaabo Puscherberg, a famous Canadian design firm who are have worked on all the major stores in the United States, Tiffany, Barney's, Neiman's, etc. And this is our modern log cabin design, and this is how we look actually at our new HBC airport shop that we just opened at the Toronto International Airport, and we have many of these rolling out now, and we've also set up a wholesale division, and we're selling to the very cool men's and women's small boutiques around the world who are interested in this kind of product. And the cool quotient here is the most important factor in terms of being able to buy our product. And for the first time at any international film festival, we negotiated our stripes on the red carpet at the Toronto International Film Festival. So that's Kira and Megan and Madonna. We sponsored Madonna's film, so we had her in the store, and she's a big fan of ours now. And Asaline is one of the top 3 publishers in the world of coffee table books, and this is a book that we did with them on the history, and it's a very exciting book, a great coffee table book of all of our photographs from our archives and many modern ones as well. And the foreword is written by another terrific Canadian, Graydon Carter, who is the editor-in-chief of America's Vanity Fair. And by the late 1800s, and early 1900s, we were building very grand department stores. 6 of our stores are stunning examples of early department store architecture on complete city blocks. This is one in Winnipeg, the original one in Winnipeg. The Queen Street store in Toronto is 1 million square feet. This is the landmark in downtown Vancouver. What Richard Baker, our owner, liked about the company that few others appreciated was and is the value in the real estate. The interiors at one time were absolutely magnificent, and we've been working very hard to make them once again the talk of the town. But this is the St. Regis Room at Queen Street, which started in 1937, long before any other stores in Canada were carrying carriage trade clothing, and this really gave the company its fashion authenticity. The room grew in the 50s and 60s when designer clothes were being launched as ready-to-wear around the world and were being made available to a much broader audience. But sadly, this is what the room had become by 2008. And although the room had surprisingly kept many of its significant brands, like Balmain, for example, more importantly, it had kept its loyal customers. However, it had not kept up standards of presentation, and the surrounding areas of the room, like this, were very tired and in need of a massive edit, like editing a big closet, an old closet. So this is what we opened with. We started at the very top of the fashion positioning with the world's leading fashion designers in a space created by Jabu Puschelberg for us. And this opened in 2009. This is, and we opened the second room in Vancouver in 2011. And I'm happy to say we're opening our third room in New York on Fifth Avenue in our Lord & Taylor store next year. These areas were opened up like lofts in the downtown stores in what we refer to as galleries of designer spaces. There are 70 designers in the room, European fashion leaders like Azzedine Alaïa, Lanvin, Nina Ricci, Balmain, Louboutin, Mugler, and then the Brits, we have Mary Catranzou, Erdem, Charlotte Olympia, Nicholas Kirkwood, all the award-winning new designers. And of course, the Americans, we have Jay Mandel, Prab Algarang, Jason Wu, and Proenza, Schuler, many, many important American designers. And we've called on our Canadian models around the world. I think you probably know that many of the world's leading models are Canadian. This is Daria Warbury, an amazing girl on all the covers of all the magazines. She did our first campaign, and this is Coco Rocha, who did our second campaign and our third, and this is our most recent campaign with Anais Puyot. We've really made fashion authority our key strategic pillar. We dropped over 900 tired old brands in our very first year and a half and brought in over 450 new brands across the country in new contemporary zones like this. We can now boast that Hudson's Bay has more international designer brands than any other store in Canada. And last year we had major renovations in 80 of our 90 stores, and we're beginning renovations now in the balance of the stores. And while previous management teams at the Bay viewed the large-scale space of the company as a liability and were worried about the poor productivity, we've actually used the space as a strategic strength to attract and build headquarters-sized shops for brands like Coach. This is the first Chanel boutique of its kind in North America that launched in Montreal. We have Burberry's first full inline shop in Canada, in Toronto. And we've begun to develop some franchise partners. We negotiated the exclusive Canadian franchise for Topshop and Topman from the United Kingdom, one of the hottest brands in the world. We opened the first 14,000 square foot 2-floor store in Yorkdale in October 2011, and a 2-floor shop in downtown Toronto, and a 39,000 square foot shop in the Vancouver flagship Bay store. What we love about Topshop and many of the new brands that we've brought into Canada is that we've added brands at the top price tier, certainly in the room, more than 100 brands now, but also in the bottom price tier, because we really do believe that high and low is how a modern woman and men want to shop today. One piece from designer and one piece from Topshop. This is what the Vancouver Topshop looks like, and I'll just tell you a little story about this. So this is an entranceway beside our grand entranceway into the Vancouver store on the main street in Vancouver, beautiful full block department store downtown. And we gave Topshop a very important frontage space, double height. And we put 2 escalators down from this front door into the concourse level. In the concourse level, however, we had a massive floor of menswear, which was one of our most productive floors in the entire store. And we decided to move the menswear, in a very risky move, to the 6th floor, which looked like this. By the way, we are still a full-line department store, although we've reduced a tremendous amount of the home space. We've reduced several 100,000 feet of home down to allow us to grow women's and men's and footwear, etc. But this floor had appliances and televisions on it and was our lowest traffic floor. So here we are taking our most productive area of menswear in the concourse, very, very busy concourse with access to public transit, etc., to the 6th floor, a desert zone. And this is what it looks like today. We actually used our in-house design team to develop this. So this is a 57,000 square foot men's world, the largest menswear concept in all of Canada. Over 30 new brands in contemporary, dress shirt headquarters, lots of fun new gadget areas, and we've tripled the footwear offering. And the sales have escalated beyond what they were in the busiest floor in the store. One of our goals was, well, certainly to support our new brands. One of the things we really needed to do was create innovative new marketing and content. And one of the areas we chose to concentrate on was really the web. And we invented something called Be Insider. And Be Insider is real insider information with terrific editorial content, videos, photo shoots with guest stylists and guest editors, real people in most of the shoots. You can listen to interviews, and a customer can actually click through and buy the items featured. So the content is unique in the industry. It completely removes the traditional 13-week production cycle for normal advertising. And we take product directly from the floor on let's say, a weekday, and within 2.5, 3 days, it's been photographed and it's up and running on the website. So it's product that's actually right in the store. And I'm going to show you a little video of how that works. So we videoed all interviews with all of the designers who have visited us in the past 2 years. We've actually had 24 designers from around the world in the last 24 months. And I have a couple of them here. So Lauren Scott's been with us. Lauren, as you probably know, her partner is Mick Jagger. Lauren is a brilliant, I would say, new and upcoming designer. She absolutely loves our store. She's a huge supporter. And she thinks that our room edit is one of the best in the world. We've had people like Brian Atwood, who we've launched. So we launched Lauren, we launched Brian. We were the first to buy their collections. And we were the first to buy Erdem, who's Canadian but living in London, so he's considered a British designer. And even some celebrities have helped us out as well, people like Sarah Jessica Parker. But what I'm going to show you now is a video clip with Kim Newport, who owns and designs Pink Tartan. Her product is sold at Neiman's, at Saks, and at Lord & Taylor, and at Hudson's Bay. And so this is just an inside clip of how you get on to Be Insider from the web, and we've really edited down the interview with Kim. So you can click on the videos. And here's Kim.
There's nothing that ruins an outfit more than the wrong shoe or the wrong shirt, but there's truly something about having a great white shirt. I think a great black turtle, I think that's an important piece to have in your wardrobe. The best little black dress. You have to live in the moment. You have to dress in the moment.
So when you finish listening to Kim's video or during it, you can run through the whole site. You can find what Kim was wearing. You can click on it, and you can go straight from the video to buying the item. And then if you're in the store, we also, each week, have a setup in every store where the product is. So you can see the video in the store playing, and you can also see the product right in the store. And most of our videos are very artistic, but some of them are certainly very, advice-oriented and practical. So we're really talking to our customers directly. Okay, so here we are with the Lord & Taylor storefront. And if you're wondering why I keep mentioning Lord & Taylor and why the storefront has just popped up on Fifth Avenue, it's because in January last year, we rolled Lord & Taylor into Hudson's Bay Company. So the oldest department store in the United States. And this is the actual store on Fifth Avenue that I'm sure many of you know, but if some of you who are from the student group in the room have not been there, I strongly urge you to visit it. Lord & Taylor was the first department store to open on Fifth Avenue in 1914. Next year's our centennial on Fifth Avenue. It was also the first department store with a woman CEO in 1945. Dorothy Shaver, very famous woman, famous for bringing important new brands to the United States and for launching many of America's important designers. So we have actually integrated the senior management teams over the past several months, which allows us to leverage the best of Lord & Taylor with the best of Hudson's Bay for true synergy across all the merchandise categories, the customer service model, the interior design and construction, the marketing and the e-com sites. It's really a true integration. We have, however, kept the buying teams separate and the absolute marketing teams separate. And we plan to keep the banners separate. Now, this is the newest store we opened last summer in Westchester, New York. Certainly not the same old Lord & Taylor. Together, Hudson's Bay and Lord & Taylor now rank among the top retailers in North America as one team across 2 countries, 2 iconic banners. One company with 23 million square feet of retail space and 140 stores has certainly given us tremendous leverage with all of our partners. And it gives us an extremely attractive real estate portfolio across North America. We're currently performing all of the same strategic diagnostics on the Lord & Taylor business that were done for the Bay. Which means, of course, bringing in new brands, eliminating underperforming brands while building on the company's terrific heritage to give it the fashion credibility that it had in years gone by. So we need to inject modernity and newness and revive the fashion authority at Lord & Taylor. And one way we decided to do this was to partner with Project Runway, not as a passive sponsor, but as an active partner in the show itself. We provided the accessories to the show for every one of its episodes for the full year. We're right in the middle of that right now. And we also acted as a judge on the Lord & Taylor challenge segments, culminating in a winner being taken from runway to reality with an in-store collection available for sale the day after the actual episode ran on television. So this is 2 weeks ago. This is one of the most recent episodes, and this is a little film clip we've put together to show you just a quick snapshot of how that worked.
Hello, designers. Welcome to Lord & Taylor.
I absolutely thought that this was the best use of the Lord & Taylor accessory wall. It gives us a real nod to that younger, more modern Lord & Taylor customer.
She really looks very put together.
It felt pretty awesome to win the challenge. We're getting manufactured, we're being in a department store, we're in Lord & Taylor, and so I didn't know that it was going to get the reception that it did. And I'm happy about it because I think the dress is stunning.
So a little clip of how it looked in the store. The dress sold out immediately. In fact, it was sold out online first thing in the morning. But we've had a terrific, fun time with Project Runway. They've been terrific to partner with, and certainly we've been getting a lot of click-throughs on all of the pieces on our web, etc. And that is now, that little piece you saw was LT Insider. So the Bay Insider has also become L&T Insider, and the same teams are working on all the creative content now at Lord & Taylor as well. So together, these two iconic department stores have over 500 years of history, bringing newness and excitement in fashion in both their legacies, and both have terrific futures. But both certainly, and we certainly, have a lot to learn. So if the students in the room think they have a lot to learn, you always have a lot to learn, I can assure you. It's an honor and privilege to be at the helm of these two iconic banners and for us to be here today. Thank you very much for inviting us. I think we're going to take a couple of questions, maybe, if there are any.
Thanks, Bonnie. It's great to see Canadian innovation on an American stage. In transforming businesses that size with such history, how did you engage your team to go along with you on the journey?
Engage the team?
Yeah.
The question was about engaging the team on the journey. Hey, I had a couple of people who didn't want to be on that journey, as you can imagine. In fact, when I joined the company, it was operating as one company, and we had Zellers, which was a discount department store, which we subsequently sold to Target, so I'm sure you know that story. That enabled Target to come to Canada in one swoop, which, by the way, they just did last month. We had Zellers as a discount business, and we had the Bay as a moderate department store. And one team doing all the buying and all the everything. So buying, marketing, everything was one team that had been put together by the previous management. So we decided to separate the two teams, which is kind of ironic given that we've put two other teams together. But but they're two similar teams, two similar purposes and objectives. The two teams that were being built from one, Zellers had a new president, and the Bay had me as the new president. And I was coming from fashion and high-end and more of luxury businesses. And the Zellers person was coming from a very modern, exciting business in Canada. So everyone wanted to jump on the Zellers team because everyone wanted Zellers to be the next Target. And I had trouble trying to get people actually to stay on the Bay team. And in the end, the Bay has been a terrific story. We've tripled our EBITDA. That's the reason that that plus the Lord & Taylor success is the reason that the company was able to do an IPO last year. So it was an interesting journey because I would say that the one thing that is the most important is to try to make the vision, which is invisible, try to make the vision tangible. Try to picture it, speak about it, talk about it all the time. Make sure that the management team is fully understands the vision and then work towards all of the pieces moving in alignment at the same time, and check back with every single piece of the operation. So every person who's responsible for a piece of that operation, to make sure that we're all in alignment always. And be very transparent about what's going on, very open, communicate a lot, and listen a lot. Because, you know, these are the people who have been there a long time. They know. So check back with people, check back with customers to really get a good feeling and reinforcement for what you're doing. Does that help?
Thank you. Yep.
No other questions? Well, come and visit us in Canada. The Queen Street store is in downtown Toronto, right in the heart of town. It's in the financial district where Soho and 42nd Street kind of meet along with Wall Street. It's a fantastic store, 1 million square feet, not quite the size of my friend Terry's store, but certainly a very exciting property now. And Toronto's a very vibrant and exciting city. So I urge you to come and see us and enjoy Toronto and Hudson's Bay. And of course, probably most of you already know Lord & Taylor. You're going to see some very exciting things going on there in the next little while. We've just renovated the men's floor. We'll be opening that in a couple of months. And the new room will be opening next year. So a lot of change, spending a lot of capital in that beautiful Lord & Taylor flagship store. Thank you.